Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the GTraderPro Weekly Futures Forecast. I'm Gil, and I'm here every Sunday to help you get a look ahead at the trading week. We'll look at key markets, some upcoming events, and the setups we're going to be watching as we get into this week. So let's get right into it. Overall, we've got a fairly quiet economic calendar. No major reports. A couple of our regular reports that we get throughout the month, but no major blockbuster reports this week. But all eyes are on the equity markets after last week's performance. Let's take a look, and let's start off with the ES here. So we're going to be using our 90-minute charts here today. We've had a very robust continuation last week, as you all know. This week, early in the week, looking for the potential for the ES to culminate this advance up at 6,030, right around the 6,030 mark, a little bit below that, a little bit above it. Very difficult level for the market to move beyond without some reaction. So if we can complete 6,030 early on in the week, we're going to be looking for potentially a very sizable, a decent pullback off of such a level. We could see a good 200-point decline back down to 58.70 or lower. But one of our key levels, of course, is if we can get up to 6,030, the level we talked about this past week, 59.57, certainly our first target. Beyond here, I would be targeting 58.70. We'll see just what kind of range we get this week, but this would be what I expect out of the ES. We could go lower than this, considerably lower, but this would be a major target for the week. We get below 58.71, which technically isn't that difficult to do. We could take back and get into this gap here and head down considerably deeper. I would look for about 57.40 to 57.60. Should this occur. But a key level this week, if we test it on the downside, is going to be 58.71 or a little bit lower here, off of what we hope we get to see completed this week, 6,030. Let's go over to the NQ. NQ had a very busy week last week, and this week, potentially here, we came up just shy of 21,545 on Friday. I would expect to see a better attempt at 21,545, and potentially a culmination would be great to hit this target up here, 21,645. We've not reached that. This is a very critical week for the Nasdaq, with some topping having occurred here. So like to see it reach to 21,645. I think it's a realistic target for us very early in the week. If we reach up here or come up just a little bit shy of it, we're going to see a sizable pullback. One of the first areas below 545 would be 226. This was one of our upside targets from last week, 226. Could end up getting all the way back down to 20,900 this week. So there's the potential for a good size move in the Nasdaq this week, and preferably we reach 21,645. I do think that that's very likely early in the week, and then from there we have a sizable pullback and can culminate as low as 20,964. So it's going to be a really exciting week for the Nasdaq. Stay tuned. Let's move over to the Russell. Now, the Russell had a really interesting week last week as well. Really put in its high on Monday, and from that point, if you watched our weekly wrap-up, you know that we closed just below 2112. Russell could be one of those showing the first signs of a pullback underway. We did not reach 21,145. Did not reach that level and closed, as I said, below 2112. If we continue to stay below 2112, simple retracement back to 2,088 with a more complete pullback culminating as low as 2,036 this week. So this is the level we jumped over on Sunday night, and a full-on pullback whether we see 21.45 or not, if long as we continue to stay with daily closes below 21.12, we can come all the way back down this week to 2036, and we'll be looking forward to that. Lastly, we will take a look at, of the last of our indices, we'll take a look at the Dow. Now, the Dow reached our upside target last week, 42,700. We've got one more early this week potential for 42,896. So not that much higher. This and a failure here would culminate in a pullback all the way back down to our 42,000 level, 42,000 and just a tad over that. But let's call it 42,000 to 42,050. This is where we would see the YM pull back to. Two things. Love to see it hit the upside target of 42,889, 42,9. Fail there, and any daily close back below 42.7. We can see on Friday they closed just above 42, basically right on 42.7. Failure here at this level easily gets us back down to 42,000 this week, and not difficult to reach down to 41,700. With a really good pullback this week coming all the way back down to our 41,334. This is where we closed last Friday. So again, this is what I see with failure up at 42.7 and failing back below 42.7, but 42.9, 42.7, failure at these levels, and we take all of last week back and we get back down into this neighborhood. That's what we'll be looking for out of the YM this week. Really big week coming up for the indices. Let's take a look at crude oil. Crude oil put in our top last week. We pulled back nicely. There is the potential this week. Let's just think about this for a minute. There is the potential this week for a really good pullback back down to, just around the $59 price tag, and potentially under 57. So we're going to be watching anxiously. Really important price level this week, 62.81. We want to continue to see failure at 62.81. Ideally, we see failure at $62, and that takes us down to 58.30 and potentially $57 oil. Gold, with it continuing to fail, which we had last week at 32.42, we'll see more 31.20 this week. I'm pretty convicted of the fact that we should see more 31.20, 31.22, potentially a little bit lower than that this week as well. We could get under 3100 if we get daily closes back above 32.40. Then we'll be looking for 33.70 to 33.75 on the upside. So just a little bit shy of our 33.90 level. We'd see something in the order of about 33.70 on the upside if, and only if, we see daily closes back above 32.45. Otherwise, we'll see more 31.20, potentially a little bit below that to about 3100, give or take. So that's the gold outlook there. I think that's going to wrap it up. This is the GTraderPro Weekly Futures Breakdown.